Hey guys, it's Veda day 9. I am just at the park with Bailey, letting her run off some steam before we get to the end of the day when it's her bedtime and she decides she doesn't want to sleep because she has so much energy. But yeah, today's been a really tough day for me. I don't know what my problem is, but I've been extremely emotional today. I don't know if it's because my period's going to start soon or I don't know, but today really proved to show me who my real friends are and who isn't. Thank you for the ones that are always there for me. I said that I was going to talk about my birthing experience. So, here it goes. I wasn't supposed to have Bailey until the 12th of January, and, so, I don't know where to start. Okay, let's see. So, New Year's Day, or I should say New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, I kind of had, little baby contractions, which they would kind of off and on come, and I was timing them, and they weren't 5 minutes apart, they weren't really anything. And so, you know what? I take that back. I did not have contractions. Never mind. Okay. So, New Year's Eve morning, I woke up, and I felt like I peed my pants. And my underwear was soaked, I don't know, and it just kept dripping. It was like a constant, water feeling. And so, I put a pad on, and I kind of, waited to see if that would fill up with water or anything, and it would get pretty damp. So I thought, oh my God, this is it. My water broke. I had no contractions, so I was just I'm going to wait it out. So all day it continued to drip, and I would get weird, my mucus plug basically would kind of slowly come out as well. So I thought, you know what, I don't know if this is normal. So I went into labor and delivery, and they checked me into a room, and they checked to see if it was my water, and I guess my water hadn't broken. So, I was sent home. Then we went about the normal, New Year's Eve get up, and we went to my mom's house, and we celebrated it, and we did the countdown with my aunt, my uncle, and my dad, and my mom, and some friends, and all my siblings, and that night, literally a huge glob of disgusting, gooey, brownish looking gross nasty stuff came out, and I was like, oh my God, this is not normal. I made my aunt and my mom come into the bathroom, and I showed them. They're like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. So I was freaking out, and I called labor and delivery, and they're like, well, if you're concerned, come in. If you're not having contractions, I don't really think you should come in. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll wait it out. So that night, Andrew and I went home, and at this time we lived in Woodland Hills, not in Camarillo, so it was about 25 minutes away from my hospital that I was supposed to deliver Bailey in. And I woke up with contractions, and they were every 5 minutes apart, but I wasn't feeling pain, so I was like, oh, I'll just wait it out, I won't go in. So that day, I was supposed to go to the mall with my mom and my aunt and my brother and my sisters and my 2 cousins. And so we went to my mom's house, and then we all drove to the mall, and we were supposed to go ice skating after the mall. So I felt really bad. I didn't want my siblings or my cousins and even my brother's girlfriend, I didn't want them to have to miss out on ice skating. So I didn't tell them that I was having contractions. And then we were in the mall, and literally I felt like I peed my pants again. And the contractions were still coming, and I was like, Mom, I've been having contractions all day, and I think they're 3 minutes apart now, I don't know, what should I do? And they're like, oh my God, you need to go to the hospital. So we stood in the middle of the mall, literally, right by one of the kiosks, and we were counting my contractions, and they're like, they are 3 minutes apart, you need to go, your water broke off, you're leaking everywhere, and your contractions are 3 minutes apart, you need to go to the hospital. So, I I was like, well, I can't. Like, I feel really bad. They're not hurting me. Like, I feel fine. Like, let them go ice skating first, and then I'll go to the hospital. And they're like, no, are you crazy? Like, we'd rather have a baby than go ice skating. So I was like, fine. So I went to labor and delivery, and sure enough, my water had broken, and I got dressed up in my little garb, and I went in, I think it was around 6 o'clock at night, and I was in the hospital overnight, no baby, only 1 centimeter dilated. Woke up the next morning, still 1 centimeter dilated, no baby. So the waiting began, or should I say continued, and so it was about 3 o'clock, or it was about like 2:30, I should say. No, probably, I think it was around 3 o'clock. And in comes the doctor, and he checked me, and he's like, he had checked me earlier that morning. I was 1 centimeter, and he checked me sporadically, and I was still only 1 centimeter. And he comes in at 3 and checks me, and he's like, wow, like, you went straight to 10, like, be prepared. Or 9, sorry, I was 9. And he's like, be prepared, like, she can come any minute. If you feel pressure, like, you're going to have to poop. Like, she's definitely coming. So he walks out, and my mom and my aunt were like, okay, well, we're going to grab food before it happens, since it's taken so, or my mom and aunt, before the doctor checked me and was like, oh, you're 9 centimeters, we're like, oh, well, we're going to go grab food. So they were down getting food, and they had waited because they thought, oh, something was going to happen. So, the one time they decided to actually go down and get food, I had to call my mom and be like, oh my God, it's happening. Like, as soon as the doctor had walked out after checking me, like, I had pressure, I felt like I was going to go to the bathroom, like, I knew she was coming. So I had to call him back in. He came in. My mom and my aunt came running upstairs, and it happened really quickly. 8 minutes of pushing, so 23 hours of labor and 8 minutes of pushing, and she was out. And I had a beautiful 6 pounds, 4 ounces, 18.5 inches little baby girl. I didn't have to get an episiotomy, but I did tear, so I had to get a lot of stitches. Andrew described it as looking like meat coming out of a meat grinder, which is really disgusting. But, yeah, so I had to get a lot of stitches, and, I guess, like, the way my epidural was put in, it caused a bubble on my back of, like, fluid, and the way I held my legs while I was pushing, kind of damaged my back a little bit, so for the first, like, week and a half, I could not walk. I had to be helped in and out of bed, and, like, when I did walk, I was, like, hunched over, and I was in a lot of pain. Like, I had no pain during labor or the delivery at all. At one point when I did come in, when they hook you up to the chart machine that shows how strong your contractions are, I was just laying there. I didn't even have my epidural yet. And the nurse, like, looked at the computer, and I guess it spiked, like, extremely high, and the nurse was like, did you feel that? Because I didn't even flinch, and I was like, no. And she's like, you must have an insanely high pain intolerance, because that was an intense contraction. So I have to say, it was painless for me. I didn't feel any of my contractions. They didn't hurt at all. I got my epidural somewhere in the middle of the night, just to have it, so I was ready. And, so I had a painless labor. It was after childbirth that I was in excruciating pain. I would cry because it hurt really bad to walk, and to sit on the toilet or the couch. So I basically had to lay down all the time. And never get the flu shot. They say it's good, but for me it wasn't. It made me get the flu, and I got every symptom known to man. I even had to go to the hospital almost at one point because I was shaking so bad and couldn't get myself to stop. So, yeah, that's my birthing experience, and I'm really happy that I got to share it with you guys. So tonight I'm going to post an Instagram post where I'm going to ask you guys if you have any questions that you want me to answer, so that I can do a Veda where I answer everybody's questions that they wanted to know. Okay, I got to go play with Bailey on the jungle gym. She's over there sitting, making friends. All right, bye guys.